Hey, welcome to New Jump City, everybody, where we recap the week in American and Japanese sequential art. I am your host, Christian, the unbiased king, Espinal. And joining me through Discord, it is the man, the myth, the legend, the tank top sage. It's Joshua Gangsta Time Cole.
Well, it's called Partner, but it should be called Gangsta Time.
Hello, Chris. What up, everybody listening?
Hell yeah. Also joining us, it is my brother, our co-producer. It is Edgelord. Big news, Brian.
なんというビッグニュース
What's up, nerds? Hey, we're back. Kinda, sorta. we're as back as we could be. Thank you guys for listening in. Sorry we missed out last week. We rarely miss weeks. This was a bit of an anomaly. My computer's in a shop, so I am functioning out of a temporary workspace right now. But we are back to give you some good old manga reaction content for your listening pleasure. I'm very excited for this week. We are covering a bunch of stuff. Very excited. So let's not waste any time with it. Let's get into plugs. You could find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Joshua Cole, where can they find you?
At JD Cole_37. That's on Instagram, and at New Jump City Josh on Twitter.
Oh yeah, Brian.
You can find me at b.esp on both Instagram and Twitter. And if you ever want to catch me when I'm streaming, you can find me at twitch.tv/itspunchline.
Hell yeah. You can follow the show itself at New Jump City on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us on those things. We also have a TikTok, same handle at New Jump City. Please do that. Engage with our stuff. That would be super sweet if you did that. So do that. Email us at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about. And we'll get back to you someday. Maybe on an off week with Jump. We'll do a big old question and answer portion for the show. So send in stuff. Who cares? We'll get to it eventually. Keep sending questions and engaging with us. If you guys don't want to email us, you could comment under the YouTube stuff that we put out for you guys. This episode's a little special. We'll probably we don't have like a super video component for the that we usually have. If you're watching for the first time, we usually have all three of our handsome faces on here, gracing you with manga opinions. But this week we do not, but usually we do. So comment your thoughts on the video version of the podcast or the little highlight breakouts that we usually make for you guys every week. We do a really good chapter of the week poll that I didn't do this week because weird circumstances of recording this episode and the last. But we usually put it up every week after Shonen Jump Viz's Shonen Jump service drops the chapters Sunday afternoons to maybe Monday mornings if I'm forgetful. So please let us know there. We have the poll is where you get to vote. We ask the audience what their favorite chapter was, and we reveal what it was for us. We reveal what the winner is of that poll during the show that precedes it. So subscribe for that. If you prefer audio podcasts, which would be perfect for this episode in particular, you can follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're there, baby.
Yes, sir.
So, and leave us a 5-star review on any of the service you're listening to. That would be super cool. Yeah, subscribe on YouTube though, because I'm afraid the algorithm hates us. So please assuage my fears by interacting with our videos. And I think that's it. Without further ado, let's get this party started. One Piece.
One
Piece. This is One Piece chapter 1076, Old Friends. This is last week's chapter. There was no One Piece this week, so we are just like covering it this week because we didn't get to cover it last week. And this chapter starts out with color pages. It's honestly one of my favorite color spreads from Oda. If I'm gonna critique the art a little bit, I just like how creative it is, and it's really nice. But enough with the color page. This chapter starts off with the recently awakened members of the CP0, Kaku and Lucci, recently waking up from being knocked the fuck out and
It actually
realize
starts with a color page.
I said that. I
Yeah,
mentioned
but
the,
did you describe the details?
well, I said that
Did
I
you
like
say how Brooke was in a hoodie?
Brooke was in a
No.
hoodie. I didn't describe the
Guys,
details.
You didn't mention that, bro. And I
Guys, this
think
one
that's
actually
integral.
starts with a color page. Do you guys know that?
That's what I'm saying, Brian. Like,
I
you
just
have to.
went off a whole thing about the color page, and you guys didn't
You
chime in
skipped
until
over that shit. You jumped over this shit
I
like
did
it
not
was
jump
like it
over
was
it.
the first world in Super Mario, man.
I did not
Just went
jump over it. I said that this is like one of my favorite color pages. And you guys didn't pipe up. You guys are late. You guys jumped over it. I gave you guys an opening to.
Honestly, I'm just gonna say it. We have a color page on the first page of this one.
I hate you guys. First week back and you're already sabotaging me. I don't know why.
Builds character.
The important people are on the ground.
Wait, what?
The important people are on the ground staring at a big robot bear.
Oh yeah, that's where the chapter starts, I guess. You guys are taking me for a loop here. So yeah, basically S Bear and S Hawk, the seraphims of Kuma and Mihawk have are squaring up against Luffy, Zoro, and Kaku and Lucci as well. The last where we left off in the chapter, Kaku and Lucci have proposed to the Straw Hats that they put their differences aside for the moment and just decide to fight on the same side for a second, so they survive the combined might of the seraphims that they face. Zoro is very much like, yeah, I don't know if we can trust these guys. What's to say that they'll play nice after, we release them from the handcuffs and we take care of the situation? What's to say they won't turn on us immediately? And Kaku's like, now that's just not true. Once we're clear of the present danger, we'll play nice and go back to the handcuffs. And Luffy immediately believes him. He's just like, whoa, hell yeah. Sounds good to me. And Zoro just yells at him. He's like, he's obviously lying. What are you doing? At that point, that's when the Mihawk Seraphim attacks with this chopping kick. We see the flying slash that seemed familiar to Zoro as he gets a closer look at the Seraphim's leg, and it is completely a blade, just like Daz Bones, aka Mr. One's leg in from the Alabasta Saga, and obviously Impel Down. The Seraphim carries the power of the dice fruit, which is not ideal for the copy of the world's greatest swordsman to have a sword.
Fun fact for everybody listening, I just relearned who Mr. One was last week.
Yeah. In our lost episode that that we half recorded last week, I had to remind Josh who Daz Bones is. But in any case, Kaku tries to argue that they can't fight while also saving Lucci and Kaku. And at that point, Shaka asks them is like, what brings you here, CP0? And Lucci just straight up is like, the assassination of the 7 Vegapunks. Which Kaku's like, man, just don't just tell him like that, And obviously Shaka's like, so you plan to kill Stussy as well? I mean, after all, she betrayed you. And Lucci's like, yeah, she's going down too. She will pay the price, specifically, is what he says. Kaku's just pissed because Lucci's not making any friends here, really. But at that point, that's when Luffy basically decides to release Kaku and Lucci. And he's basically like, after we stopped all 4 of them, you better not go after my friends and Vegapunks just because you can't beat me in a fight. You got that? Which is a pretty gangsta timeline.
Well, it's called Partner, but it should be called Gangsta Time.
Very very sick line from Luffy, to be honest. Um, but
Yeah,
Lucci,
these are his best moments when
oh yeah,
he's just it, honest in such a raw way.
mm,
Like he wasn't trying to taunt him; he was
yeah,
being dead ass.
yeah. He's just you know the fucking Tom and Jerry beating I gave you not too long ago, right? So you know,
Yeah, this Tasmanian Looney Tune ass beating you got
yeah,
last week.
yeah, for real. Like Lucci was out of his league. I love that Luffy knows that. He's like,
That nigga was an Acme prop when he was finished with him.
for real. um, there's like a really cool. I don't know if we talked about this on the pod before, but there's like a really cool fan animation of Lucci versus Luffy in the Gear 5 form, and like just the way that like Luffy beats him up, and that is like that's gonna be really cool animated by Toei and shit. Um, but sidebar aside, um, the Kuma Seraphim doesn't hesitate. It immediately fires off an Ursa shock, to which Luffy, they all dodge it, with the chains off. Yeah, Ursa shock. Um, they release Lucci and Kaku from their cuffs, and they all dodge the Ursa shock. Luffy goes Gear 4, and he and Lucci let off a simultaneous attack on S Bear, and meanwhile Kaku and Zoro go off on Mihawk Seraphim, and that's kind of where we leave their battle for now. We cut,
Pain and coolness, bro. Just straight up.
yeah, super cool,
Yeah.
very fucking cool.
Remember a few weeks ago I was talking about how like this team up would feel like as a kid. Man, let me tell you
Mhm.
this is. I felt 14 reading this, bro.
Yeah, it was a cool
It,
moment. I would never have seen it when I was young.
man, my head would have exploded.
Yeah. Um, we cut over to deeper inside the lab where we see these weird like vats or pods. I don't know what to really call them, but they're inside of these like little containers. We see various members of the CP5, 7, and 8. Uh And it turns out that they've been stuck there for a really long time. Somebody after like well, at least 2 months. Cuz one of them talks about how 2 months ago they came to investigate Egghead, and as they were leaving Egghead, they were abducted by the sea beasts and were brought over to this room. And they haven't eaten since then, it seems. Like they're just sitting there starving, and they look over to Vegapunk, who's also trapped in here, and yeah, he has no knowledge of this. So whoever abducted them also abducted Vegapunk. So I don't know who that might be. It just might be somebody who's been somehow sneaking around on Vegapunk's island for months without his knowledge. Um, But Vegapunk takes it as a sign, is like, oh, so, now that makes sense how the government knows that we've been researching the poneglyphs from here. Uh, and that's why, the current situation is going off as it is, why CP0 was sent over and all that stuff. We then cut away from all the action, as we have been doing for the last couple chapters. We've been cutting away between the goings on Egghead and what's going on in the wider world of One Piece, and we cut over to an island in the New World. Uh, there's this bar where we were shown a little bit of a recreated scene. That we should all feel familiar with. There's a little boy at a bar complaining about how he wants to go on a ship with a pirate that is visiting them. And it's very reminiscent of Luffy and Makino way back in chapter 1. Shanks is in fact here. That's the other pirate that he's talking to, and one of the crew members from Shanks's crew, I think this is Rockstar. He was younger back in the day, but 2 years have passed, and I guess he's like a higher up in Shanks's crew now. Um, he pulls up, and he reports to Shanks that somebody really attacked them, and there is a bit of a squabble between an invading force and the younger members of Shanks's crew. Um, and that's when Shanks gets up from his table. He like basically downs his giant sake cup, and his basically like, can't tell if the timing's the best or the worst. Just when we were about to set sail, too. And he mentions like he's been caught up talking to people that he thought were dead, but they turned
Hmm.
out are okay. Uh, so yeah, the other
That's
members,
interesting.
yeah, I think we know who they are, because we get revealed to them soon. So
Oh,
Shanks goes off to meet their invaders, so to speak, and he talks about how he doesn't really want this battle to spread inland into Elbaf and unnecessarily hurt people. So he asks a couple of giants that we see in the background, familiar friends of ours, Dory and Broggy from all the way back in Little Garden, have made it back to Elbaf, as it is revealed that we are in fact on Elbaf. And not only are Dory and Broggy there, but the two giants from the Ennie's Lobby arc have made their way back onto Elbaf as well. And they're all just going to go pull up to whoever's there, as Shanks tells Rockstar to deliver a message. And the message is, do you want to fight me here and now, or leave your road poneglyph and flee? Make your choice.
Hmm.
And obviously, next page, we see that the invading force that we've been talking about is Kid, as we already know that he's been descending upon Elbaf for a couple weeks now. Um, and they're all just finding out that this is Red Hair's crew that they're talking about. And, you know, at that point, Kid starts to have some PTSD aches from the last time he fought his crew.
his metal arm throbs.
Yeah, he's like, fuck. And Killer explains that he never really even fought Shanks himself. And even still, they got beaten up by one of like Shanks's, I guess, subordinate crews on his fleet, and whoever they fought took their arm. So, uh, pretty crazy that not even it wasn't really even Shanks that took Kid's arm, it seems. Um, and Kid explains, it's like, hey, if we go up against them again, they won't stop at an arm. They'll take your life. And Eustace lets out a laugh and he says, maybe so, but only if I lose. And that's where this chapter ends. Josh, what did you think about One Piece chapter 1076?
Well, last week, both you and I gave One Piece to our GC for that week.
Yes.
This is a different week,
Yes.
and I won't count this chapter towards the week.
Yes, we can.
So.
It's unfair. But it was for last week. It was both me and
Yes,
Josh's
I feel like
arcs.
that needs to be said. So, quickly. Did he think that the Giants were dead?
Yeah,
Is that who he's talking
yes.
about?
Because
You're
the
talking about
Giants,
the Giants that were on
Little
Dressrosa?
no, Little Garden. Dory and Broggy, when they were trapped on there and they were fighting for like 100 years.
Yeah.
Everybody from Elbaf, I think, thought they were dead. But they've been just stuck on that island for 100 years because they couldn't settle the fight.
Wow. When did they get? I wonder when they got to Elbaf. I wonder how they got there. Did they just walk?
Yeah,
They're not
because
that big.
well, last we saw, because I'm kind of like this is within my memory banks of One Piece. Last we saw them, they were still on Little Garden, still fighting. So somewhere between like the time somewhere between like maybe Punk Hazard or beyond and now, they were brought back to Elbaf. So maybe we'll get into the circumstances of how they returned at some point. But yeah, they were not on Elbaf for like 100 years.
That's a large amount of time. I was curious about that. So, as far as the CP5, 7, and 8 members being trapped, along with Dr. Vegapunk. At first, I thought, potentially, like, was he in this chamber the whole time? But no, I think he already got hurt. This is him hurt from the altercation with Bonnie, and he got nabbed at some point. I guess while she was inside of her father's palm magic.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Maybe that's when he got stolen. It's obviously one of the Stellas. And which Stella it is, I'm sure like Oda's gonna throw a curveball at us. I'm sure like it's not gonna be something where we was able to see the signs. It's just gonna be one of these left characters. At first I thought it was gonna be the guy with the helmet.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Do you
Shaka.
remember?
Shaka.
Which
Shaka.
Stella? Yeah. At first I thought it was Shaka because obviously he's the one calling the shots, but who knows? Maybe it's the sleepy girl. Maybe it's the robot that got blown up. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know what the. I guess I don't know what the Stellars are capable of. It could be them, but we've seen them together the whole time, basically, or at least
It's
with like some of
absolutely
their
not
squads.
the first girl that they ran into.
Lilith.
Yeah, it's not. No. Yeah, it's not Lilith. The one. It's not the big robot girl, and it's not. I don't think it's the one with all the fishes. No, maybe it is her. Maybe it is the one. Okay, I'm talking about the Stella that they ran into in the very beginning
Yeah, that's
with
Lilith.
all of the sea monsters. Okay, what was her name?
Lilith.
Oh, okay. I thought Lilith was the robot girl. That's
No, that one's Atlas.
yeah. She's like violence, right, or something like
Mhm.
that. Okay, well, yeah. Lilith, her name literally is evil, and she's the one that's been like shipwrecking these guys, and she has to know where they've been going. So I guess it's the obvious answer would be her. My second answer would be Shaka, and
Shaka.
my third answer would be Little Robot Man.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't even begin to tell.
I think my list is pretty solid.
I think your list is pretty solid too.
Brian, what did you think about this chapter? Oh, did you have some rebuttals,
No.
Chris?
No, I was about to ask Brian what he thought.
Oh.
I thought this chapter was actually really fucking fun. It wasn't my RGC last week. But it was really, really, really fucking close. I really love seeing the CP0. I love seeing the tag team between Zoro and Luffy and Lucci and Kaku. That was pretty fucking sick. And I think this was the real Shanks appearance in the series. Like I talked about the fact that that fucking Shanks showed up last time, like his previous appearance felt a little hollow. It felt like it wasn't really him showing up because that's what Oda wanted. It felt more like promotion for One Piece Film Red.
Mhm.
So it never really sat right with me. But now this is the moment where we get to see Shanks be an actual fucking an actually introduced person, you know? Like this felt like Oda's actual moment to bring him in.
Mhm.
And it was really nice. It's really cool to see Kid also getting a lot of respect from Shanks, having him actually show up with reinforcements and shit. It's going to be interesting. I can't imagine that he would win, but hey, maybe they might have like a stalemate or some shit. I feel like we made it a case to underestimate Kid, but I feel like he's a lot stronger than we give him credit for. I feel like he has a lot of potential to do some real fucking damage in this world, and this could be his moment to kind of show that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I would like to rebuttal Brian.
Go for
But,
Yes.
yes.
I am not underestimating Kid. I think he is mid.
Mid.
And I think he's mid. And summoning a big magnet is really cool if you're a dweeb, you know?
Wow.
Dweebs like that.
That
Wow.
magnet sent fucking Big Mom into hell, bro.
He
What are
called-
you
Yeah,
talking
well,
about?
He called Magneto a dweeb. That's what Josh said. You heard it here first.
Magneto. No, he doesn't swing big magnets
No,
around.
neither does Kid.
Yes, he does.
No, he
So
doesn't.
literally what he did.
He doesn't swing big magnets.
He summoned a large magnet.
No, he didn't. He is the magnet.
Was the magnet just metaphor?
Yeah.
Kid is the magnet.
Kid is the magnet. He doesn't summon
And
him.
then he
was
swaps.
They showed it.
No, what
They
he
showed
does
him
is
at-
that he applies a north and south pole of magnetism to certain things, but he also magnetizes things to himself. There's no like physical magnet to him. Like he
Not
is the
cool.
magnet.
Lame. That's why.
What?
Yeah, that's why his awakening is assigning other people the.
Yeah, that his
magnetic
awakening
force.
is that he can make other people magnetic.
That's trash.
That's part of it. I mean, I don't know. We don't know the extent of his awakening. First of all, you're hating for no reason. All right. You gotta chill. he said he's
He
trash.
has no more potential.
He said he summons a giant magnet.
Yeah.
That's very much not what he does.
I mean, it's pretty close.
No, it's not. He doesn't summon a magnet. He is the magnet. He's Magneto.
Though I do feel like Kid's Devil Fruit would do some major damage on oversea. Dude, how long has it been since we've had an oversea fight? I hope that that
Since
they
Law?
fight over waters.
Law versus Blackbeard?
That was on land though. They ended
Not
up
really.
getting on land.
They were using the sub to attack Blackbeard ships.
They
And
were in
stuff.
the sky.
No, they're not.
Sky battle.
I'm pretty sure
Law?
this dude fucking Hessusbergus threw a fucking mountain at them.
No, they're
He
on
grabbed
land.
the land mass and threw it. That's different. They weren't on land. They were in the air.
No, they were on land. And I remember this because they were making a point out of like Law using his submarine as a support
Hmm.
to like sink all of the Blackbeard fleet ships that are around. They were like doing an underwater battle. Like I think they were off the coast of something, but they weren't like
Yeah.
in air.
I just remember Blackbeard flying in.
Yeah, he flew in on
And Law went to go meet him in the sky and they got it popping.
Yeah, that probably happened.
Did I say anything false there?
No, I don't think you're
Right?
I don't think
I
no, he
did.
definitely flew in on Stronger and Doc Q. So not-
Brian would bet on me.
yeah. Brian would bet on you. So I don't have look, here's the thing. I also don't think it's hard to argue that Kid would win this battle at all in any way, shape, or form. I think like I would say that, Kid could probably give Shanks a fight, but then I saw that, he's also bringing like 4 giants with him. So that's tough.
That had me thinking actually. Maybe what Shanks' power is all about. It's not about him being such a fearsome fighter, although his Conqueror's hockey is still legit. I don't think it's about him being a fighter so much that he just has probably the most powerful crew. Because even
I would say
well, I
that's
don't wanna
entirely
say
possible.
even, but Big Mom and Kaido, like they have huge crews too. But Shanks is supposed to at least rival theirs, if not be not be superior, since neither has came up on the territory, and Shanks doesn't seem like the type that wants to pull up on other emperors' territories and take them.
I think Shanks is probably not probably, but definitely the strongest crew without devil fruits. That's 100%.
Nobody has a fruit.
Well, we don't know
I
that.
don't think so. I don't think anybody has devil fruits.
Well, we haven't seen anybody somewhat fight extensively. People
If Usopp's dad doesn't have a fruit, I'm gonna be irate.
I feel like it would be a good opposite to Blackbeard, Blackbeard's crew is full of devil fruit users and like mainly focused on devil fruit users.
I would think that
And
I agree with you, Brian. I think like maybe there's probably a parallel drawn that Shanks knows something about devil fruits that people don't, and that's why that's my immediate theory thinking about this kind of thing, is that if there's nobody on Red Hair on like the Shanks crew that doesn't have a devil fruit, it's intentional.
Imagine you gotta swim to get to the One Piece.
That
Ooh.
would be
Sorry,
fire.
folks. My entire crew can
The entire crew pulling up.
get there.
All of us.
I think like just because of the amount of people that's probably on Shanks' crew, if he has an entire fleet, I would find it kind of unlikely that nobody has a devil fruit.
Would it be absurd of me to say that Jinbei and Zoro would be able to solo
Solo.
red yeah, I said it. Solo red, Shanks crew. Like
You're
I-
on
I
some
think so.
crazy crack.
Why does it gotta be cracked though, Brian?
Because
Why does
that's
it
what
have to
it's
be
gotta
cracked?
be
Why
for
do I
you
have to go there? Is it because I'm
That's-
black, bro?
No, it's got to be like that because you got to be on some crazy wild crack to think that Zoro can solo Shanks.
Not true. I could just be high off life and a big fan of Zoro and Jinbei. I said Jinbei too, bro.
You
Can't
did
forget
say
him.
both Jinbei and Zoro.
I did say
I
both
still
of them.
don't think so.
That didn't change it. It didn't change anything for you.
No, I don't think so. I don't think it did actually.
I don't know.
What if I threw Nami in there?
Oh well,
That
then
makes it worse, I think.
Yeah. She has a weather stick. All right.
She has a weather stick.
she does have a weather stick. It's theorized that Lucky Roo has one. The big guy. That's always
A
on
weather
Shanks.
stick?
No, he
No,
just used
a
shave.
power.
Oh.
He just used
Oh.
shave. He doesn't have a
And we don't know
double-
that exactly.
He just used shave, bro. Come on. We all know he just used shave.
Who the fuck is Lucky Roo?
The
He's
big guy.
Big guy. With he's always eating.
Yeah. Oda has said. I think Oda has mentioned that Lucky Roo is the fastest character in One Piece.
Whoa.
So whether that comes
Faster
from
than Kizaru?
supposedly, I don't know. I don't know if that's been updated since, but
Faster than the Flash?
yeah, I remember reading it in one of Oda's SBSs. Like the little question and answer things he does in his volumes, where he talks about how Lucky Roo is probably like the fastest character in One Piece. But who knows? Honestly, I don't know if they're really going to show this fight. I wouldn't be surprised if they took care of this matter off screen entirely, because I imagine the Straw Hats are going to make their way to Elbaf after Egghead. So,
I could imagine that too.
so
I mean, they showed a little bit of the Blackbeard fight. It would be nice if they showed a little bit of the kid fight, you know?
Next year, bro.
hey, I would love to see all these fights happen. I doubt they. I think just because the nature of what we're, just building stuff up, and how Oda likes to do things, he leaves plot lines going and continuing without us being cognizant of what's happening, and we'll find out about it later. But I mean, it would be awesome. I would love to see Yasop do stuff. I would like to see what the red hair pirates are all about. But I doubt we'll see it right now.
I never thought Kid's crew would be basically reduced to pool man's fodder for Shank. You know what I'm saying?
What'd you say?
I think he's decidedly mid, but I didn't think he deserved that fate. This is like Black Clover.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, who knows how this will shake out? If anything,
He's one of the coolest fodders ever, though.
he is a cool fodder. I would say that.
But fodder nonetheless. And hey, Chris, listen. I don't know if I could bet in Vegas for this, but I put a lot of money on that.
No, I mean, that'd be a smart bet.
Kid's gonna be used.
Or there's another possibility that Kid could join the red hair fleet.
After
No
being beat
shot.
into submission.
That is not gonna happen.
I don't know. I'm just throwing it out
That
there.
is the farthest that's the farthest off I think that would happen. Like that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, Kid at this point may seem decidedly mid, but I feel like there's been too much emphasis on him as a character that he's just going to be destroyed here and never used again. You know what I mean? I feel
Authors make mistakes sometimes. They're human. They're not omnipotent.
Oda's beyond human, dude.
He's pretty damn close to perfect.
Mm-hmm.
He's closer to perfect than most others. However, he dropped the ball with one character only.
We don't know that. I don't question Oda's plan. All right.
Hey, kid fans, kiss my ass. How about that? Tell me about it in the comments.
Damn.
On YouTube.com.
I didn't want to rage this war. Kid seems to probably have the most edgelord guys on his side. So
That's all I'm saying.
why do you want war with them? We should all be making peace.
Brian's fault, ultimately.
Why? Because yeah, you're right. Brian, why did you do
By
that?
proxy.
Why did you say that? Why did you say that we shouldn't underestimate Kid? You know that's a trigger for
Because
Josh.
He did start that, yeah.
He could be really fucking strong.
Yeah, but you forget who you're talking to.
No. No. There's no empirical evidence for that.
He just said no.
All right, if Kid wins,
Mm-hmm.
you owe me a Kid figurine that you have to hang up over your bedroom.
Bro, I'll chop my arm off and replace it with a metal one. And anytime I see the color red, I'll say, God damn it, my arm. All of that. How about that?
Damn, that's a lot of times you gotta say God damn it, your arm. Red pulls up in your life a lot.
Aren't you a Knicks fan? Knicks have red in them, right?
No, we don't.
That's orange, I think. No?
You would say that as a Nets fan.
I'm colorblind.
You're from New Jersey.
I'm not from New Jersey.
No,
That's
that's
an
our.
insult.
All right. Well, I don't have much else to say about this chapter. It was the Luffy and Lucci and Zoro and Kaku parts were cool and fun, and the Vegapunk stuff is interesting. The color page was A tier, and
Wait, that was a color page.
Shame on you, S tier.
did you say shame on me, S tier?
Yes.
We should do a color page tier one day. That'd be fun, right?
Yeah, and then we should get Biden.
Dude, that shit is so funny.
Yeah.
I seen another
is.
one where they were doing
There's so many of them.
I sent you the one where they were doing Legend of Zelda, and I
Yeah.
thought you would
It
appreciate
was great.
that one.
It was really good. It was really good. That one, the Smash tier list.
Yeah.
There's another one that was funny. The Kingdom Hearts one was
Oh
fucking
my God. I listened to that
hilarious.
like 5 times. It's so fucking fun. He said you probably you probably caught a fit when you had to collect the 300 crabs.
Oh my God. He spoke to me directly on that one.
Me too. I hated it.
I was like, yeah, I did, bro.
I caught a fucking
I did,
attitude.
my nigga. And the problem was that I just kept falling asleep. All right. Like,
it's a sleepy game for a sleepy man. All right, we should move on.
yeah, let's move on. That shit was great, though.
Look it up, everybody. It's Joe Biden and Donald Trump debating Kingdom Hearts 2 versus Kingdom Hearts 3. It's so fucking funny. All right, let's move on. My Hero Academia. This is My Hero Academia chapter 382. Don't Let Him Go. Lots of stuff happened. Last we left off, Tokoyami had his cool moment where he got to give All for One a big old shadowy knuckle sandwich, and that was pretty sick. He got a cool moment there. We start off with this chapter with something completely different. It seems to be like a flashback chapter in a way. We're starting to see we look into like this crowd of Twice clones that were made by Toga, and we see some of them are transforming or making clones of Shigaraki and Dabi, and All for One himself is in there somewhere. It's almost like a Where's Waldo of the League of Villains. One of the Shigaraki clones touches the ground, but nothing happens. And we cut over to Asui and Uraraka running through the forest, and they're basically discussing how, as we all know, Twice's clones, when he clones someone else, they are able to use the abilities of whoever he clones. So if he clones Dobby, that clone can use Dobby's quirk. But for whatever reason, when Toga makes clones of them, they're not able to use their quirks. And Asui kind of hypothesizes that it's because, like, if Toga can't extend her love towards Shigaraki and the others, like, she is not able to make clones using their quirk. It's a weird, complicated thing because I would think that, like, because it's Twice's quirk, all of Twice's abilities come with that when Toga uses hers. So it's kind of confusing in that way. It's not necessarily a Toga thing, but a Twice thing. Because we know that Toga can actually use quirks as well when she transforms into people, but I don't know if that's what she's doing here with the clones of Shigaraki and all that stuff. And, it's just a little confusing here and there. So basically, the whole point is that they're going to try to find Toga and override basically that one emotion, and stop her basically from before she can, like, figure out how to make it so that she could use multiple people's quirks at one time, just like Twice could have. And we cut to Toga basically, like, in the crowd of people that she's created, and she's like thinking to herself how much that she loves Tomura and she loves Toya, but unlike Jin and Ochako, she can't use their quirks, and even when she tried to do it before, she can't use their quirks. But even though that she loves them, that love should be there, and she should be able to use their quirks, but at the same time, she could use Jin's quirk, so she doesn't really know what that means. And she's like, "Why can't I become Jin?"
Is Jin Bubai Bagawa Wawa?
Yes, Jin is Jin Bubai Gawara. So we then cut, I guess, to the outside, like to reality, as Uraraka seems to actually track down Toga. She finds the original Twice that is Toga, and at that point, we cut over to where we left off last chapter with Tokoyami, still like putting the pressure on on All For One with his gigantic shadow fist, and Hawks is urging him to keep him down and run out the clock, but they're just, everybody's just giving it their all to just like try and keep All For One down for just like a little bit until like basically Deku can defeat Shigaraki, but that does not work out pretty good. Immediately there's like a recoil effect. Everybody is like thrown off of All For One, and we see that he's actually even younger than he was before he went down initially. And he immediately just starts flying away. Everybody starts to give chase, and try to catch him. And the situation seems to get worse as we see that Gigantomachia is back, and he seems to be crossing their path. And he All For One looks over to him like, "Flatten the Machia."
Just as I planned.
Yes, I planned for Machia to be there. And Hawks is like, "Not quite the disaster it looks like, right, Tsukauchi?" And then all of a sudden, Gigantomachia throws an entire fucking landscape at All For One, and All For One is like, "What? How?" And we get a little closer look, and we see that Kirishima is on top of Gigantomachia, also accompanied by none other than damn, what's his name? Why am I forgetting? Shinso. And that's where the chapter ends. So Josh, what did you think about My Hero Academia chapter 382?
I think this was a Shinso fan's wet dream,
He is
which
so
also means
fucking
it was
clutch.
Brian's wet dream, as he just said. This was an exciting chapter. My interest in the situation with Uraka and Ochako, no, they're the same person.
Asui is
No,
Froppy.
God, the deranged one. Thank
Toga.
you. Between Toga, between the three of them, I'm not really that interested in their situation. Although it did pose an interesting question, right? Why can't she copy the other people and then use their quirks? Because if she could copy Shigaraki and have him use his quirk, that
GG.
would end everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a theory about that.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to go ahead now?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because she doesn't really love them. Or because, like, I think it's because she doesn't really love them the way she thinks she does. Like, the reason why she could use, like, if you were to compare how she felt about Uraka or about Twice to how she feels about the other people, you could tell that it's very different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very different love. And the League of Villains haven't really shown her like a reason for her to love them like that, you know? And I think this is just her coming to terms that she can't, like, it's her whole thing. She can't control how she feels. Like, that's her entire arc, is that she can't control how she feels. And this just continues that trend, you know? That why can't I just control how I feel and love them the way I'm supposed to so that I can win the war for them, right? But she can't because she doesn't really love them like that.
She doesn't take any medicine for her mental disorders.
That too.
That also.
I mean, that could be part of the issue.
Yeah.
That was well said, Brian. Chris, do you have any core thoughts on this chapter?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Josh. I'm not like mega invested in the Toga thing. I just haven't hooked onto it. And maybe it's something I'm missing, but it's never been something I've like really understood or like was mega invested in really. I feel like there's like stuff that I like about it and I can kind of see the point of it, but I don't know, I'm just like not that hooked onto
I
it.
do think though that this element they added did make it a little more interesting for me, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm just like kind of I guess it makes sense in the way that like the intensity of her love is just like is how strong it like has a direct correlation on like how intense she could use any given person's quirk, because in theory she should be able to use Twice's quirk as Twice does. I think like Twice's quirk allows for if he clones Dobby, that clone can use Dobby's abilities. So yeah, I don't know if how much it has to do really with her love. But I guess like that is the question, is like why can't she become Jin? Is like why can't she
Why
have that
can't she?
complete? Yeah, she says why can't I become Jin? I think like part of that is like why can't I guess access his complete skill set? So she could basically
Jin.
use Twice's like power at say 95%, but this one little part where she can clone other people but she can't have them use their abilities is like the last step to where she truly becomes Jin.
Maybe she has to be intimate.
Maybe.
The funny thing is, it started as a joke, and then as it left, like my lips, I was like, maybe that is maybe
Yeah.
that is the next step, like the physical aspect.
Yeah, you know what's
of,
interesting?
of love.
I guess like I'm trying to analyze it and kind of make this part kind of interesting for myself, and I think I'm like realizing stuff that I haven't realized about Toga before, but
Hmm.
it's in the same regard in Twice as well. Is there's this whole thing about becoming Jin and like why can't she fully become the people that she loves? Uh there's also like this little like
Oh,
element of quirks are like basically tied to somebody's mind and soul basically. So if she can replicate someone's quirk entirely and become them in that sense, then she kind of is that person. But the reason that she can't close that final gap and use that last visage of Jin's power is that she would never she just can't ever become Jin. He's an entirely separate person.
yeah.
Like this is the separation that like this is the wall that she can't really cross. Is like you can't copy somebody's quirk entirely because then you are that person. Like quirks are like DNA in that sense. And I guess like Toga in her ability being able to transform into the people that she loves, they never really like leave her in a sense. Even when Jin's dead, he's there.
Right.
So, I guess that's my 2 cents about it.
Right.
So
Do
in
you
that
have any other thoughts about the chapter in general?
yeah, the Gigantomachia stuff was pretty cool. I was excited that Shinso was able to like have his moment because he's like a guy that's been
Me
built up
too.
forever. As a
Yeah.
he's like one of those characters that he's got one of the longest spanning arcs in the story, like in terms of build up. So it was good to see him have his little moment here and control Maki out of all people. Is pretty strong. Uh, and I'm excited to see what else goes with it because I don't think we've seen the last of Shinso necessarily. So, uh, yeah.
Bro, what about that young explosion
Well, young,
of light?
well, young explosion of light.
When All For One kind of got Tokuyami off of him.
Oh yeah,
That
his
big blast.
the springtime of his youth.
Yeah. That's what that was.
Yeah, I mean, he never looked happy. It's good to know. All For One was always a miserable asshole, even when he was like
Yeah.
12. Or is this him
He
when
had a
he's like
rough
a 20
childhood
something?
years.
He's probably
years
more
ago.
like 15 during that.
He looks like an adult-ish. Like if you look at one of the panels, he seemed like adult size. So this is probably like his 20s.
I don't think Makia can respond to him when he's that young, right? Maybe that's
No,
what
it's
happened.
because like he's under Shinso's control. So he's not going to respond to him at all. Shinso's got him like brainwashed.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the brainwash part.
Yeah, did you? And I think he's using All For One's voice specifically because that like modifier around his mouth is a voice changer essentially.
Yeah, he used All For One's voice from the voice recording.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
You
Yeah,
know,
that was
Oh, he
really
was talking
creative.
all that shit.
well, you know
That
what's
was
funny?
really creative problem solving.
Yeah, I'll say this. Like one of the interesting things about like his mask is that it's the metals that are around the mask. That's why it's designed that way. Is that like the way the metals are arranged? It's supposed to imitate somebody's vocal cords. So the mask itself is the voice changer, and it's not like necessarily a technological thing. But that's a little fun fact, I guess, about his mask in particular. But that's all I got to say about My Hero Academia. I like this chapter a fair bit, especially, the cliffhanger we got here. Excited to see. Maki is one of the cooler designed characters in the story, so it's cool to see him again. I'll say that. But yeah, I'm excited to see what else happens from here. I don't have any more thoughts. Any other rebuttals?
No, unfortunately, I don't.
Alrighty. Well, I suppose we can move on then. Jujutsu Kaisen. Josh, did you want to cover this one or should I?
Would you mind covering the recap?
Oh yeah.
And then I could get into the chapter of this week.
Oh yeah. I mean, we missed last week, which was a shame because that would have been a fun one to talk about. But
Yeah.
yeah. Last we left off, Megumi has been possessed by Sukuna in a twist that I didn't see coming, but I feel like I should have this whole time.
Yeah.
I feel like nobody saw it coming. I was watching this like big iceberg kind of video.
Really, for JJ?
Yeah, and it's actually a really good video. Let me pull up the guy who made it. It's kind of like a nice refresher because he goes through like basically all of the theories of the series, and along the way he ends up explaining a lot of like certain things. Jalomoth. Look up his comprehensive Jujutsu Kaisen iceberg. I just wanted to give a quick
Yeah.
recommendation to a fellow content creator. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, nobody predicted that that Sukuna was after Megumi's body. Um, and it's kind of interesting to think that, or at least to my knowledge. Uh, but yeah, Sukuna took over his body, and basically we seen that like he was about to fight the angel, and he lured the angel over to just like convincing him that Sukuna has left his body, but then he did a crazy funny uh distorted face thing, and it turns out he followed through with that. He took a big old chomp out of the angel's shoulder and just tossed her off the fucking building. uh so as far as we know, the angel is not in commission, although I do
Mhm.
believe that the angel could use reverse curse technique and heal themselves and come back and fight again. Um, but in any case, Itadori and Sukuna had their battle. It was pretty one-sided. Sukuna's not exactly uh not exactly threatened by Itadori in any way. He uses like his cleave technique a bunch of times and cuts Itadori up like crazy. Um but yet Itadori was able to still punch Sukuna in the face, and that's where we start off here, where Itadori has just punched Sukuna in the face, and Sukuna's like, "Man, I can't just my cursed energy output is fluctuating. At its lowest, it's under 10%, but physical movement seems fine." So it seems that Megumi from the inside is preventing Sukuna from being able to use his full power, which is pretty sweet. um,
That is pretty sweet.
you know, I like that he's not fighting back entirely, but he is doing his little thing, contributing in some way. That's pretty cool. But Sukuna is still like, I still shouldn't have any trouble killing the kid. But then, unexpectedly, right next to Sukuna is also fucking Maki.
No.
And I was so excited.
Yeah, I was really, really hyped for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I was so fucking. And
I made an actual verbal.
yeah, he's like a whoo,
Like,
like a
I
whoa.
said, "Oh." One of those.
And hey, I'll tell you what, it didn't really disappoint. Maki is just like, "Hey, sorry I'm late. Give me a brief rundown." And Itadori just explains like, "This guy won't die even if you go all out." And they get it popping for a while. I mean, they just go hand to hand combat. Uh, Maki lands some blows. Itadori lands some blows, but it's still not. It's still pretty easy game for Sukuna, obviously. And basically Maki's just thinking to himself is like, "Hey, even if he can't die, he can't heal wounds from the split soul katana, which is the soul that she is carrying, that is Mai, basically." um
Mm.
and basically she's like, "Yuji, our goal is to stop that thing, even if it means killing him, right?" And Itadori, to his credit, is like, "Yeah, I'm not, no, yeah, we're killing this guy for sure." um
Yeah, he does. He just says, "Yeah."
Man,
He asked mind if I speed things up. He
yeah.
said, "No."
And
Listen, Fushigaro's
I
just
mean,
gonna have to die.
that's what Megumi would have done if this happened to Itadori as well. So
yes,
it's just an unspoken agreement.
yeah,
Did I say Fushigoro? I meant Megumi.
Same thing.
yeah. Fushiguro is Megami.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, speed it up. They do. It's a big like action scene. They're all fighting left and right. But Sukuna figures out a little bit of a loophole. He realizes that like, well, the body resists me and drops cursed energy output when I'm hurting its allies. But I can use it on other things, and he uses his cleave on the ground, just causing a big fissure. He takes the opportunity to sucker punch Maki, but Maki just spits out blood, and he's like, nice.
Which
They have a cool back and forth clash here and there. And at that point, that's when the battle is interrupted by a new challenger. All they see is a person in shadows off to the side, and they say maximum output. And you see a giant fucking Aokiji sized ice blast sprout out. And it's Urume, I believe her name is. And she's like, I offer my deepest apologies for intervening. And Sukuna's like, I'm good. It's cool for me. Urume mentions that she tried not to freeze Yuji too deeply, to which Sukuna's like, well, it doesn't matter. I don't need him anymore.
it's okay.
But it was right to focus cursed energy on the girl, though. And that's when the giant Nue pulls up, and he tells Urume to prepare the bath. Urume's like, I already did it. It will require a short journey, but it's already done. And Sukuna's like, as always, you attend to every detail. And we see a tiny little like panel where Urume is super happy to receive this compliment. At which point,
Sukuna's actually being nice.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right? So Itadori breaks out of the ice and chases after him, but unfortunately Sukuna and Urume have taken off on the giant Nue. Urume's like, should I kill him? And he's like, no, wait, look, it's hilarious. He's so pitiful. As we see Itadori basically in terror as he's watching Sukuna escape. And they laugh at him as they fly away, and that's the end of the chapter. Sheesh. Josh, what did you think about Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 215?
Let me not be melodramatic about it. RGC.
Oh yeah, same.
RGC.
Damn.
Oh, Unified, really good chapter of the week.
Unified RGC.
Oh,
Unified RGC. Unified RGC.
Yep. Josh, what did you think? Further.
What do I think? I think when I hear those One Piece trumpets, something inside me awakens, bro.
Yeah. Well,
Brian, did you say this was? Wow, all three of us. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was just about the fight. It was the makings. It was all right. Let me slow down. I'm just gonna say a few things I thought, and then I want to hear what you guys thought. But man, Itadori ain't no scrub anymore. Granted, Sukuna is in a weakened state, that he's below 10%, but his 5% is like better than everybody else anyway, so it's okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was a nice level battle. And of course, Maki pulling up with the assist to make it up so that Yuji doesn't just die straight up. It was cool, man. They was giving it to him. He got saved.
So they didn't explain why Yuji is so fucking strong, right?
Yes, they did. Well,
They
they've been subtly dropping.
Yeah, they did like the anime tease, like, oh, he's from that time. Wow.
No, Yuji.
Yeah, we have context.
Well, Yuji is strong because he's mixed up with Kenjaku, basically. He's like Kenjaku's son. Kenjaku. He's like Kenjaku's son, so he has like kind of a lot of physical attributes that a lot of people obviously wouldn't have. But
is that really all there is to it, though?
As far as we know so far,
he's a cursed womb, bro. He's beyond human.
As far as we know so far, that is kind of the defining thing right now. but that's the only inference we can make, is that we know for sure that Kenjaku is a parent of his. So that alone is enough to, I guess, give him a lot of physical ability that other normal people wouldn't have.
Yes. Just accept it, Brian.
No, I mean, I was just wondering because I think, like, what's his name says, "Oh, he's from that time," some shit like that.
No, let me look back because I know what you guys are. Oh, I went too far back. He does say that I get the boy is from that time, and I'm wondering what that really means. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
That time. Yeah, but that would be weird. Yuji's an ancient sorcerer. Is that what they're saying?
Wait, what if he is?
That would be surprising.
What I think they're implying, what I think Sukuna's implying is just that he was a cursed womb, that he was created. All right, Kenjaku's from a long time ago, so and all the ancient sorcerers in the past were much stronger. So I think that's what it is. He passed those ancient sorcerer genes into him directly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously Gege Akutami is deliberately leaving a lot of stuff out of Yuji's origin at this point. So we have cause to be confused.
Yeah, it's really vexing Brian. And I understand.
I don't know. I like when a mangaka says something that's generally important. Like that's not a throwaway line.
No, I don't think
where
so.
he
I
just
don't think
goes-
it's a throwaway line either. But I don't know what to make of it really. It could be that he means that, like Josh said, that he just has some ancient sorcerer genes in him, or it could be that Yuji is secretly an ancient sorcerer and he is not even aware of it.
Yeah, I think it's weird that he brings it up now of all times. Like he didn't bring it up before, like when he was in Itadori, or like a long time ago.
Yeah,
He chose now to say that.
yeah. Well, it could be possible that, I don't know. Maybe it's like we're misinterpreting it and what that really means.
Maybe this is Gege's
I never
way-
misinterpret anything. I'm
maybe
correct.
maybe this is Gege's way of saying like Itadori won't be useless without Sukuna. Don't worry, he has a power up coming.
Yeah. Well, I think what they meant. Well, Gojo definitely said that like he's definitely not getting a curse technique. But I don't know. I don't
Maybe
know.
he's also gonna get heavenly restriction.
It's possible,
No.
right? It's possible. You can get heavenly
He
restriction.
has cursed energy.
He does, but isn't that like a thing you give? You can give up cursed energy for heavenly restriction.
With the binding vow, maybe?
Maybe.
Binding vows are everything.
They are everything. Binding vows are interesting. Nobody knows what will happen if you break one, but nobody wants to break one. That's actually a thing. Is like nobody knows what happens if you break a binding vow, and nobody's trying to find out.
It gives you spinelyosis.
Spinelyosis.
And then it forces you where you can't draw a series for years, like the Hunter x Hunter.
God.
Spinelyosis.
Yeah, that's probably the title of this episode. Spinelyosis.
Yeah. Spinelyosis. Yeah.
Spinelyosis.
That's
Sounds like a fucking
Harry Potter spell.
like a special move.
It's definitely a real medical condition.
Oh no, I know.
That
mean
two
scoliosis?
of two authors are no.
No, Brian, it's spinelyosis. It's the medical term.
The medical term spinelyosis.
Okay. Well, I don't even know whose thoughts we were on. I actually don't know.
Or man, we all agree.
It was all mine,
Best
but
chapter of the week.
It was.
Yep.
Brian, why do you think it was the best chapter of the week?
Because it was pretty fucking. The fight was pretty fucking sick. Not gonna
It
lie.
was.
That fight was so fucking cool. I don't know. Every time Sukuna fights, it's always such a fucking blast to watch. Just because he has such a mastery over curse technique that he makes it look so fucking easy compared to any, like, the only person comparative to him is Kenjaku. Like, when we see Kenjaku fight, that's the only person that
Mhm.
we see with that level of confidence and understanding of curse energy.
And Casio. No.
No, not even him.
The electric
the-
guy. What? Nah,
not
the
even
electric guy
him.
was smoking. I ain't gonna lie, man. Mr. Rishi would have got packed if he didn't get lucky. Like, he was on him. He was setting him up crazy.
Dude, his whole power is getting lucky.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying that the ancient sorcerer was like tearing him up.
He actually maybe Kashimo actually might be like a Sukuna counter. Who knows?
Yeah, man. He ain't afraid of Sukuna. He's really not. And I don't think he's. I don't. You know. I feel like he has a reason not to be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like whenever he fights, it's such a fucking blast to watch. I really fucking I love watching Sukuna fight, and especially now that, you know, his whole plan with Megumi finally came to fruition, which has been getting set up for so fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what it was, but I remember a long time ago I did talk about what I thought Sukuna would do, but I forgot. But I'm pretty sure it was along the lines of possessing Megumi instead.
Nah.
So I was right.
Nah, you never said that.
I did say that. I did say that. I swear to God, I swear.
You're gonna have to listen to every single episode of this podcast.
God will
until-
smite you, Brian.
I said it. I said it. I
You will be
swear. I said
smited
it.
and sent
I
to the
remember
depths.
saying, "Man, it's interesting that Megumi that he's interested in Megumi. Maybe he wants to take over his body or something."
Well,
shit.
you better roll back a lot of tape, Brian, and figure that out.
I don't know what episode it was or when, but
Hey, Brian, I believe you. I just can't take your word for it.
why can't you take my word for it?
I
I would never
need-
lie about this.
I know you would never lie. I just need the proof on a bureaucratic sense. We need to put this away.
All right, audience. If there was ever a time,
No,
where I
Brian, you have
needed
to. You can't make the audience do the work.
audience, if there was ever a time that I needed you, it's now. You see, I'm on your side now. Black Clover is fucking awesome. I'm on your
You
side.
need to understand something, Brian. Christian is now a reporter for the New York Times.
New York Times.
So, yes, I'm sorry.
Listen.
So he's on your ass, Brian, and you can't get away with these bullshit responses. Not
It's
anymore.
not bullshit. I literally said that.
Well, we need the proof, Brian. That's just how the world works.
Chris needs empirical evidence.
I need empirical evidence for sure.
How
And
about
check out the
you-
Weekly.
Yeah.
How about you empirically evidence these nuts? How
Hmm.
about that?
Well, that
I
is a
hope
good
he
counter.
has spiny scoliosis.
Spiny eye scoliosis.
Spiney
Spinelyosis, something like that.
Yeah,
Spinelyosis.
that was pretty crazy.
Spinelyosis. Man, I can't wait for that episode title to drop.
I
All
hope
right.
you start writing a series, Brian, then you catch it.
Anyway,
Catch what? Spiny
spinelyosis.
Yes.
All right, Brian. Were those all your thoughts?
Yeah,
Well, I'm not gonna cap and say that I saw this coming. All right.
I saw it coming.
Sure. All right. Well, yeah, this is a great chapter. I mean, obviously the fight is super cute, and
Superb.
it wasn't even like fully like getting it in yet. Like they were just kind of feeling each other out at this point, and they got into
Oh wait,
Yeah.
no. Now I remember what it was.
Well, Itadori was getting the shit.
So
fixed,
I
but-
said that I thought that Sukuna was taking over what was interested in Megumi, so that Megumi could make a body for Sukuna,
Hmm.
Mm,
which I still
Out
think
of
can be done.
Shadows.
Yeah, which I still think can be done using the Chimera and the Chimera Shadow Garden or whatever.
You almost said it,
Well,
but it's
Yeah, I almost said it.
Well, the Chimera Shadow Garden is just summoning Shikigami. Like, it's not creating new bodies. He can't make a new body.
That's what we think now. You'll see.
All right.
You'll see. Remember, mark my words. Sukuna is using
Okay,
Megumi's
so-
curse technique to create a body for himself to transfer into.
Fine. But what you didn't say is that he would take over his body. We're confirming that now.
Maybe I said it, maybe I didn't, but I'm pretty sure that's what I said. Maybe.
Well, either way, you gotta find proof.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah, fucking awesome battle. I think the last few chapters, I think Akutami's art has just been on fire. I just love the way he draws action scenes. It's so visceral, so cute.
Shuki.
Seiki. And when he wants characters to like look really detailed and on model, they look really cool. So love that. The fight choreography is great. The fucking 2-page spread with the ice all over the place. That shit was fire. New is like honestly one of my favorite Shikigami. He just looks cool. So much cool. That's what this is, you know? Jujutsu Kaisen is just fucking
Cool overload.
It's just fucking cool. You know what I mean?
So fucking cool.
It's just so cool. Wouldn't you agree, Josh?
You're gonna make him hate this chapter.
No. Josh can't resist.
No, I loved it.
Not even Josh could resist that.
Man, I mean, shout out to Itadori wrapping up Sukuna with the gate. I just think that was really cool.
That was
He said he was boring, but I think that was lit.
Yeah, no, it was a cool
right as Maki kicks him in the fucking rib cage.
right?
The next building.
I'm not crazy.
It
It's just
They-
cool.
is.
It's just cute. I feel like every time I turn a page in this battle, I'm just like, that's so cool. Yo, dude, I'm just peeping this panel where like Maki swings Itadori at Sukuna. You know that big 2-page spread where they were speeding things up? Maki beats he basically uses Itadori's fist as a hammer.
Yeah, I
So
did not see that coming at all.
so cool.
Fucking lit.
All right, well that's all I gotta say about Jujutsu Kaisen. Do you guys have any rebuttals? Anything else to say? No?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no?
Yeah. No.
All right. Well, let's move on. Chainsaw Man. We are doing Chainsaw Man chapter 122, The Prophecies. I know we missed like 3 chapters up to this point, but we intended to do it last week, but technical difficulties. But in any case, a lot's been going on. I think last we left off actually talking about Chainsaw Man was when Asa and Denji were about to go on their date, and they were doing basically the 3 rules. The rules were essentially like that you can't like touch stuff in the house. What was the second rule? The first 2 rules are kind of arbitrary and not that important, but the third and most
Don't open the fridge.
don't open the fridge, right? And the third and final rule was like don't make out with Denji, basically. And Yoru immediately did that, right as Nayuta, the reincarnation of Makima, the control devil, walked in, and she immediately used her abilities on Yoru, and even in her Yoru state where she's the war devil, she was immediately put under Nayuta's control. And Denji's like, oh man, come on, no, turn her back into a person. And Nayuta's explains like, no, I don't fucking like her. She smells weird. And I think Nayuta knows that like this is a devil smell, but she's not letting that onto Yuji really. Not Yuji, Denji really. And Denji's like, come on, man, let's make a deal. And Nayuta's like, okay. but if I'll turn her back into a person, but you can never like talk to her again. And he's like, oh man, why? And she's like, well, but I don't like her. I don't like her scent. So if you want her to turn back into a person, I'm going to rearrange her memory so it feels like all she remembers is that you stood her up. And that'll be that. And he's like, oh,
Pretty
but
clutch.
but she's gonna hate me. And she's like, it doesn't matter. You're not talking to her anyway. And then he's like, fair enough, fine. And they make the deal. And after that chapter, Asa met up with Squid Boy, and Squid Boy basically told her to stay away from Denji. Um, and they had like an argument about that, and she started walking home, and it seemed like she was just surrounded by like people just watching down on her from like these balconies. Like she was in this apartment complex, and everybody was like looking down on her from a balcony. And that's where that chapter leaves off. And now we cut over to 122, where Squid Boy is now having dinner with Famine, the Famine Devil, of all things. So Squid Boy goes on to talk to her about this urban legend that's been spreading around lately, from the prophecies of Nostradamus. And he mentions that Nostradamus predicted that in the 7th month of 1999, a great king of terror will descend, and it's getting attention for predicting the end of humanity. Um, so the society sees it as like nothing more than a sensationalized rumor, but public safety sees it as a legit threat. So they made an experiment and had 30 convicts make contracts with the future devil on the condition of their release. And then public safety had them ask when they were going to die. And the devil predicted that 23 out of the 30 will lose their lives in July of 1999. Which is interesting. I guess I have a question about it later, but we see that Famine's like, and she's like, and I know you're up to something. They say that public safety believes it's connected with the prophecies of Nostradamus, and I came here to make you talk. If you refuse, I might have to start giving you the devil treatment.
So calm, like.
Yeah. And Famine is like, the other 7 die this week, don't they? So basically, Famine immediately explains that 40 seconds ago, apparently, a devil appeared in the East District Tamano apartments. And she explains that it's the first of the devils that will shepherd the world into ultimate terror. And mentions that she is a devil with the name of a primal fear, and her name is ... And we cut over to this random couple in an apartment, just talking about how like one of the guy in this relationship is like, I might get promoted this month, and she's like, whoa, that's all. And his girlfriend, I guess, is like, whoa, that's amazing, congratulations. And he's like, I'm amazing, aren't I? She's like, are you getting a raise? He's like, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I guess. I bet they'll force a lot of annoying work, so can I buy a car? And she's like, no cars, I said. We'll take the train. He's like, I guess that's right. That's fair. Whatever. There's a lot of to manage with a car. And then all of a sudden, there's like a minute, there's like a little pause. Then he looks over to the woman. He's like, hey, don't you think we should just die? He's like, oh, sure, let's die. And yeah, basically they just walk off of a balcony and fall to their deaths, and so do all of the people that we saw last chapter looking down on Asa. And at that point, Yoru takes over because she's like, "Uh-oh, this is some devil shit." And she turns one of her rulers into a sword, and then one of the dead bodies, like all the dead bodies that have fallen from this building, start to, I guess, come together into one mound. And Yoru immediately knows what time it is, and she's like, yeah, I can't win this fight. I'm a bounce. And we see like a naked woman emerging from the pile of bodies that has just fallen. And it's a big 2-page spread as Yoru is running away at the sight of this new devil. And that's where this chapter ends. Josh, What did you think about Chainsaw Man chapter 122?
Okay, this was one of those chapters that made me like I had to read this shit twice. It helped that it was like a quick read. You know what I'm saying? Like most of the Chainsaw chapters are.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's so. I just feel like when you look at these pages, there's a lot more going on than simply what's being shown.
Mm-hmm.
At least or what's being projected. Like when I look at these couple pages, page 11 and 12, right? Well, really mostly 12. When they have everybody falling out of this building, I feel like there's some more meaning to this. I can't figure it out right now, but because I'll be honest, I didn't have too much time with this to read it since I read it right before the pod. But yeah, it was pretty wild. I don't know what devil this is. I don't think it's the suicide devil. They said it's one of the primal fears. I don't know if suicide is a primal fear.
I think it's
Maybe
I think it's the Death Devil.
just death.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Because
I don't know.
unless it's the falling off buildings devil. I don't think that's what it is.
Afraid of heights devil. No.
Yeah.
So
I
there,
don't know.
there are 7 primal fears:
Darkness is one of them.
extinction, mutilation, loss of autonomy, separation, and ego death.
Ego death.
Wait, could you repeat those again?
Extinction, mutilation, loss of autonomy, separation, and ego death.
Ego death. Wow. Loss of autonomy is technically control, right? It's the control devil.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty. Maybe that is.
Ego death.
Huh.
Yeah, I think maybe you can, in theory, simplify that to just this being like death. Because ego death is death, I guess.
Ego death is complete loss of subjective
None of those were
self-identity.
darkness. And darkness was supposed to be one of the primal fears.
Yeah, I don't think this is the darkness devil, though.
No, it's definitely not. I'm just saying that on that list of what Brian said mentioned, none of those were darkness,
Who
which
said
is a
that darkness
confirmed
primal
devil.
fear?
What'd you say?
The series does. In the first part of the Chainsaw Man series, they fight against the darkness devil, which is
Yeah.
considered one of the primal fears.
Yeah.
Well,
Eh.
maybe they have a different definition for
Yeah, I would think so
primal
too.
fears.
I think like their primal fears are a little different.
No.
But yeah, I don't know. Josh, do you have any other thoughts?
No, not in particular. Anything from you, Brian?
No, this is I feel like Chainsaw Man, even though there's a lot happening, it feels like the series is slowed down a bit. Just because there was a streak where it was like nothing but banger after banger after banger.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's kind of balanced out a bit, and I'm sure it's gonna start getting really fucking insanely good again very soon.
Yeah. Yeah, there are a couple like plot lines being juggled around. There's still like the imposter chainsaw man out there. There's this new potential death devil. Yeah, lots
There's
of
a
stuff.
mystery behind Squid Boy.
Yeah, the Squid Boy. Who he's working for. Yeah, this is gonna be crazy.
He must have gotten really fucking strong since part 1 of Chainsaw Man.
Squid Boy?
Yeah, for him to be like just straight up bitching the famine devil like that.
I mean, or he could just like never have been weak and is just kind of like playing the front.
Yeah.
I mean, he did fight the fucking what's her name? The fucking eye patch devil guy. I mean, lady.
Quan Chi?
Yeah, Quan Chi. He
Mhm.
did fight her, and he seemed pretty confident about fighting her.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot we don't know about Squid Boy. That's I'm
But
excited.
he's the son of the fucking old guy, right?
No.
He isn't?
No. He's just one of the kids that work there.
I wonder where he's at.
I don't know either. I would hope he's happy somewhere.
Probably not.
No, definitely not. He has like several contracts with Devils, so he's probably not. Any other thoughts, Brian?
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I like this chapter a lot. I feel like this is one of those things where Chainsaw Man might. I've never read Chainsaw Man like in a row in a way, like consecutively, and I might be getting to that point soon where I'm gonna just like read the whole series like nonstop. It might be better that way, to be honest, but this was a really good, like menacing kind of chapter. I was I really didn't know what to make of like the cliffhanger of last chapter, like the chapter before this one, and I'm glad that it didn't really disappoint in terms of what this how crazy Chainsaw Man can get at points and how immediately dire situations can turn into. Um, Super excited to see where this goes though. Because I can't predict it really. Um, my only theory is that this may be the Death Devil, but I do not. I do not know for sure. But that's all I really have to say about this chapter. Does anybody have any rebuttals before we move onward?
Nope.
Alrighty then. Let us proceed. Black Clover.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What? Uh-oh.
It's Black Clover.
Yeah. This is Black Clover chapter 353, Banquet in Full Swing. Last we left off, the Black Bulls, oh, not the Black Bulls, I'm bugging. The Ryuzen 7, along with Asta, combined their efforts to defeat the five-headed dragon that was causing so much trouble. It was brought on by the Paladins.
Apparently, it caused darkness in the sky as well.
Yep. As we see in this chapter, as the five-headed dragon was defeated, the skies have cleared around the land of Sun, and we cut back over to Asta, where he actually recognizes the paladin that Iron Man defeated, and he's like, "Whoa, he attacked the village of Saucy and then he died, but how did he live?" And yeah, the Shogun basically is like, hey, the nun says that it was Lucius' power, but it ain't complete yet. You know, Lucius and Julius know how to resurrect people on the level of your Grand Magic Knights. So, they're pretty tough. So basically, Asta's like, are you sure there's no way to get back to the Clover Kingdom right now? And the Shogun's like, not really. The Black Bulls are figuring out how to come get you, but there's 3 more days until the battle. You just have to trust them and wait. So Asta's like, all right, I'll do that. And
Sure,
why not? Power of friendship. I'm sure they'll figure it out. But the first thing they decide to do is throw a big old party. They party hardy. Asta drinks sake and he eats, and it's a very nice little moment. Ichika has a moment with Asta, and she apologizes for speaking badly about his benefactor Yami, her brother. And
the words they've been choosing.
yeah, and Asta's like, no, so it was a mistake after all. That's real big of you to admit, Ichika. And big party stuff happens. It's a nice moment. We see the equivalent of Charmy here, just making tea and stuff. It's pretty sweet. I can't wait for these guys to meet the real Charmy. I think it'll be a funny moment.
Yes, it's gonna be a blast of silliness.
Yeah, everybody's
and
having their
positivity.
exactly. Everybody's having their fun little like character moments here with Asta. It's a cute little thing. Asta sneaks off and goes off to a hot spring, gets completely naked, and is just swimming around, enjoying the water until he comes across a very naked Ichika, and he's like, "Oh shit, I fucked up."
I'm
And he,
definitely about to get my belly cut in pieces.
yeah,
He gonna have a sashimi belly.
yeah. But instead of the reaction he expected, he sees Ichika is all red and embarrassed, and he's like, "Ah!" And then he runs away. Um, so the next day,
Kaka.
comes along, and everybody in Asta's like, "Okay, what I can do now is," but he is interrupted by Ichika coming in, and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry about last night." And Ichika's like, You're gonna take responsibility for that, you fool." And yeah, the chapter basically ends in a big 2-page spread as the Ryuzen 7 uh basically are like, "Hey Asta, you're gonna train with us, right?" And Asta's like, "Yeah, let's do some push-ups." And that's where the chapter ends. Uh Josh, what did you think about Black Clover chapter 353?
I felt like I was reading One Piece.
Mm.
Like this was the end of the arc, end of a grand arc, fucking feast and celebration. They even had a hot tub moment.
Mm-hmm.
This was the end of Wano. This literally was Wano.
Yeah. It was one.
Your man's got inspired.
Fought a
He was
dragon.
reading Wano every week. He was reading Wano Piece every week during that arc.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Yeah, I need to do this. I must." Down to to the little last detail. Are there devil fruit users? No. Are there vast amounts of animal supervillains? Not necessarily. There were 5 dragons.
There's one dragon with 5 heads.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Like as sure as your faith is that when you put your 2 feet down, they'll touch the ground. Like faith in gravity. That's how much faith you have in the fact that it wasn't. It was more than that. It wasn't more than one dragon.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't 5 dragons. They said they keep calling it a 5-headed dragon.
Shit.
Hmm?
Well, it's impressive, regardless.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Were those all your thoughts? I don't want to cut you off.
No, yeah, I don't know if I have anything else like really solid to say. It was a cute little chapter.
Yeah. I also really like this chapter. There is a lot of flavors of Wano in there. With there's a group of samurai basically. They fought a dragon. Yeah, but obviously, I wouldn't say it's a ripoff at all. It is just funny to notice the little similarities here. But yeah, I thought this was like a cool little build up, chapter, get us more familiar with the Ryuzen 7 and familiarize Asta with them. Excited to see what they can teach him about Zetin. I can't I can't imagine that they're gonna show us the entirety of this. I feel like there's gonna be like there's probably gonna be a skip to the 3 days later. And there'll be a battle, but that's my prediction. I could be wrong. Black Clover's never really shied away from showing us training arcs to a degree, so I wouldn't put it past them that we see that. And I hope we do a little bit. It'll be cool to see. Like I love a training arc, we don't get a whole lot of training arcs these days. So I guess like hardcore, like traditional training arcs where there's an arc dedicated to learning a power system. A lot of stuff like My Hero Academia and Jujutsu Kaisen, that you could argue that the whole
there's nothing better.
you could argue that the entirety of the story is a training arc. Hunter x Hunter. You could say like 3/4 of Hunter x Hunter is a training arc. So, you know, just like one concentrated thing focused on learning a skill and then putting those skills to use later in a battle is what I mean. But I'm excited. And that's all I really got to say about Black Clover. I enjoyed it. Any final rebuttals, Josh?
No, no final ones.
Okay. Let's move on then. Undead Unlock. Josh, do you want to take Undead Unlock, or
Why don't you wrap this up, friend?
I will wrap this up, friend. This is Undead Unlock chapter 149. You see me now? Last we left off.
Yes.
Last we left off with Undead Unlock, there was the big battle between Creed and the heroes that have arrived at this war zone to stop Creed from fucking shit up. Let me see what I actually want to like look back and make sure I got like a lot of facts right. Yeah, we get like a little bit of backstory in regards to Creed as the Union comes in and does their thing and saves this platoon of injured soldiers from Creed. Um, we learned that Creed was like ordered to stay in the battle until like their his entire munitions supply has been depleted. But unfortunately, that doesn't happen because this is around the point where his negation, known as undecrease, kicks in, and he's kind of forced to stay there forever because his ammo never runs out.
This was the only negator situation where I felt like it was kind of a stretch. Like, what do you mean? How arbitrary is that? Stay until all your ammo is done. There's not like stay until the objective is finished. Like, what?
Yeah, waste all of our resources that we've given you. I won't let you come back until all the resources we've given you have been depleted for no reason. So yeah, no, I agree with you, Josh. It's weird. And we start this chapter off with a little bit of backstory on Sean Datz, also known as Unseen, that we saw before this mission even began. The Union grabbed him up and kidnapped him, essentially forced him to join the Union. And he's been here this entire time, obviously using his unseen abilities, which kick in when he closes his eyes. He becomes invisible. Him and the things he deems in his possession become invisible. And we see that how it came to be that he ended up on this battlefield, and he's basically already starting off the bat like, no way, I'm not fucking doing this. And she's like, well, you haven't even heard the details of the plan yet. So yeah, always said that we'd be keeping you in custody for the time being. And Unseen is just like, no way. But then again, my Unseen is super handy. Can't blame you for wanting to rely on me. I'm a pretty hot commodity in gangland.
In gangland.
And I guess he like convinces himself to join this fucking this mission, and he immediately regrets it when he's there. So Fuko starts to yell at him, is like, hey, we need you to use your ability. And he interrupts, he's like, I ain't doing jack.
Right? Are you stupid?
He's
This
like,
nigga's shooting at us.
yeah, he's like,
I'm not going nowhere.
He said, I didn't know where we'd be on a real battlefield. And he tries to run off, and he turns invisible, but everything on him turns invisible except for the Union pin that is clamped onto his hat. And Creed peeps it as he's trying to escape, and he immediately turns his fire over to it, which was a funny little moment. He's like, why did you pin this fucking useless thing on me? And she's like, I thought you could make anything of yours that's invisible. And apparently there's a stipulation to the stipulation. He can only make things invisible that he deems not only his, but also important to him. So, the pin isn't important to him, which is why it doesn't turn invisible. And he's like, well, it's nothing, all or nothing then. Let's do this. And Fuko's like, oh my God, are you going to whip out a cool new technique that I didn't know about? And no, he basically like pulls his shirt off and starts waving it like a white flag. and is like,
Uh-huh.
"I'm not with those guys." Uh,
I
Creed,
don't know them.
yeah, Creed doesn't give a shit, and he immediately turns his fire over to Sean, but he is blocked by Gina and
Nice.
Noise, and then Void pulls them back behind the unbreakable wall. And Creed starts yelling from the other side of the wall, and he's basically like, "What the hell's your deal? I thought you were a third small elite force, but you've got some miscast guy in your group. Stop trying to screw with me."
Miscast.
Um, and as the as the battle intensifies, Creed seems to throw over some grenades, but the Union covered Sean. Um, and Creed notices that like the bombs haven't really gone off on their side, and he's like, "Damn, these guys are tough." Sean basically looks over to him and is like, "Why would you save a screw up like me?" uh he's like, "You should leave me be. He's right, I'm nothing but a side character." And we learned that he's the moment where Unseen sees his negation play out, and it was during an audition, which is why he was not able to really uh he was never able to really make his way as an actor, because he kept disappearing in the middle of his fucking
Which is
auditions.
really sad, actually.
Mm-hmm. And we, obviously there's also this other context that his dad was an actor, but could never really like make it. He was always like a side actor, like a supporting role, and he wanted to just kind of like do this to follow his dad's dreams and his footsteps, and uh you know
I'll do him.
yeah, I'll do him basically.
Try to be a bigger star than his dad was.
Mm-hmm. And because he couldn't make it as an actor, he ended up getting roped in the underground world. um
It's gangsters.
Gangsters. And we see Fuko go over to him in present day and is like, "Mr. Sean, you're not a side character. When people work hard to fulfill their role, from outside looking in, it's easy to assume they're leading and side roles, but one person's side character could be another's leading man. You know,
Is
the
that how
people,
the saying goes?
yeah, like another man's trash is another man's treasure, stuff like that, something in that vein.
Mm.
She's like, "The people who could put all their all into a role they're given are the coolest around, no matter who they are." And she looks at him and she's like, "You're unseen, Mr. Sean. You're not miscast here. If you plan to fight back, then we'll lend a hand." uh and Sean starts crying, and he's like, "Oh, my heart, it's touched." Uh, these guys are so nice to me after I've been such a dick. um So basically, we get another narration explaining that like his ability renders himself and anything he believes to belong to him unseen. In the previous loop, that was the extent of Sean's unseen ability. In the current loop, he was able to expand upon this ability, likely because of his childhood memories that have faded into obscurity.
Retcon.
Racon.
The
And
cool kind, though.
yeah, Uh, and we get a little quick, touching little flashback moment with his dad. Um, and he's like, he was asking him, was like, "Hey, did it ever bother you that you never really got any like big roles?" And he's like, "Why would it bother me?" He's like, because the leads always get the attention." It's like, you know, whenever I see a lead actor get praise for their role, I feel as happy as they were praising me. He's like,
Mm.
"Why?" He's like, "Well, maybe."
Why?
Why? He's like, "Maybe your being born was enough to change my perspective." And yeah, Sean has a little breakthrough here, as the 2-page spread that closes out the chapter is him basically having turned Fuko unseen, and Fuko manages to, I guess, give him a fucking full form tackle to the back to Creed. Um, and the narration explains that he can make any ally he touches unseen as well. And that's where the chapter ends. Uh, Josh, what did you think about Undead Unluck chapter 149?
I thought this was a pretty okay chapter up until the very end where they started talking about Unseen's, I guess, backstory. And damn, man, I was prepared for this to be a really mediocre, I guess, kind of afterthought, compared to some of his other characters. But he did it again with this one when I guess when he started talking about his dad and he said how like, yo, like how could you accept playing all of these side roles and be happy about it? And he was just like, yo, like I after having you, I think I just thought it was touching. Like
Mm-hmm.
he said, like you're the star of my life, and I'm okay with being a secondary character because he loves his kid. And
Yeah.
I thought that was really sweet. And I thought it wasn't just cheesy. It makes a lot of sense. That's why it's like, people, not everyone wants to or has to be like a fucking superstar or, you know what I'm saying? Even a leader or something like that. Like everyone has a role they could play. And, I think people learn humility when they have, something that, how do I put it? It's not that a child makes you humble, but a child makes you kind of respect life so much more. So you respect your kid's life, and I feel like it makes you respect life around you as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that was touching. It was nice, and he is carrying the torch for his dad, and that's lit. I
Yeah.
really, really like that. Man, like I said, Undercrease's situation is really niche and funny. But whatever. I'm not gonna linger on it again.
Yeah.
Those are the thoughts I had. This is my second favorite chapter of the week, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Tozuka, I think his name is the author for this. Yeah, Tozuka has a real gift of
Uh-huh.
just like really familiarizing his audience with characters that have been in the story for like 2 seconds. He's really good at just building like full backstories for them and
Mhm.
making us care, and it's pretty sweet. It's a really good skill to have, to be honest, because Unseen, even in the previous loop, was like not really a factor. I think he was like a one-off antagonist for a minute, and then he dies. Right? I actually don't remember his character at all, but now he's just kind of an integral member of the crew, and he's got his like personality, and so much of him is established in this one chapter that is honestly kind of impressive just to see how someone can weave a character this quickly and make us like kind of invested in him. um
Yeah, man, he's got a gift for it.
yeah, he's really good at it. But yeah, this backstory is really cool. I also wasn't expecting much of this, and I'm not gonna go so far as to say that Unseen is like my favorite character or nothing, but he did a really good job establishing this kid and making him like really relatable and interesting. Uh, so I'm excited to see where this character goes. And this is kind of like the thing that we hoped, you know, Undead Unluck would be because of just like the multitude of characters that the series has always had. Uh, just get like mining interesting character moments out of a big ensemble cast, and we're finally getting that in a really big degree that we didn't get in the previous loop as much.
I'd
So
love to interview him one day and ask, like, was this always part of the plan?
yeah, I still maintain that like probably some things had to be accelerated in this story, uh, for the sake of
Yeah.
keeping
But
in.
this was always the end goal, right? I mean, I think
Yes,
ever since they introduced the idea of loops in general,
yeah,
that it was always a possibility. I just didn't think they'd actually go through with it.
yeah. I mean, it's definitely an interesting place to take your story. Basically, reset it from the beginning for everybody but one, really. Um, so yeah, I really appreciate what Undead Unluck is doing here, and it's really really damn good. Um, I'm excited for its success, and make no mistake, Undead Unluck is successful. It's got an anime coming up at some point, which I'm excited to see and support. You know, it's a really of the new gen, because I think like we've had a class of new gen which is like My Hero and Black Clover and Jujutsu Kaisen, and the class after that, with Undead Unluck and maybe Sakamoto and Mashal, those. It's good to see that there's still like great manga out there.
Yeah, they are.
But that's all I gotta say
Not
about.
Spy X Family.
Oh, say it again.
Not Spy X Family.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna make any harsh determinations on that. I thought it was okay when
No,
I
it's
saw.
okay. You could. I'll shoulder that burden.
You always shoulder that burden. All right, but that's all I gotta really say about this chapter. Great chapter overall. Any rebuttals, Josh?
Nope.
All right, well, let's bring this home. Thank you guys so much for listening and for being patient with us here for a week. I swear, this is probably like the second week. Like last week was probably the second week we ever missed, so we try not to do that very often. And we're glad that you stuck with us if you did. You can find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Support my other podcast, The Weekly. It's coming out now. We're in week 3 of 10, so check us out there.
Ramping up, yo.
Huh?
I said it's ramping up with Tom Marlboro.
Yeah, episode 4 is honestly pretty exciting, so I kind of want you, if you guys want to support that, please do. The next episode is something else. I'm actually really excited about it. You can find Josh at JDCole_37 on Instagram, at New Gem City Josh on Twitter, Brian at b.esp on Twitter and Instagram. Follow him where he's streaming at twitch.tv/itspunchline. Email the show at newjumpcity at gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about, or comment on the YouTube. Please do so. We haven't had any new content up in a week, obviously, because of my computer going down, so I'm afraid the algorithm might hate us. So if you have time and you want to support the show, please drop a like and a share and a comment. Subscribe if you're not subscribed onto the YouTube. That would be super sweet. If you prefer audio podcasts, then no skin off my bones. Subscribe here. Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcast, Apple, Amazon Music, Pandora, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're pretty much everywhere at this point. So, subscribe, support the show, leave us a 5-star review, all of the things that you do to help out your favorite content creators. And with that being said, that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week, hopefully fully operational. If not, it'll be just like another one of these, which is fine by me, as long as you guys enjoy it. But see you guys next week.
Peace out, guys. Thanks for listening.